Games take place over the next 8 weeks at venues in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Sharjah. Middle East business correspondent.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Adam. How are you?
Good.
Good. I've rebooted all my devices and installed Zoom, so I'm hoping it works on this one. But if not, I have another computer ready. Are you there? Something weird happening. I've got like 1, 2, 3 images of your 4 images of your, yeah. Adam, I can't hear you. Oh dear. You there, Adam? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I just wondered what was going on. I had about 4 or 5 different views of whatever you was doing there.
That's because I shared my screen and I was looking at the YouTube live channel.
Ah, right. Okay.
Hi, Alan.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
I'm good, Phil. How you doing?
All right. I got some answers back from Harvard.
Okay.
Not all bad, but but we can discuss that a little bit later.
Yeah, it's one of the one of the problems with having legal training is your default is assessing risk.
Yeah, no, it was I know it's a good thing he did because there were two other factors I wanted to discuss with him anyway regarding my book. And there was also another image that I was using, which I knew that I would have to pay just a few dollars for using it in my book, because you can pull it off of Google and you just go in and you can pull an image off of Google and you just pay a nominal amount of money and you can use the image. So,
Okay.
and I haven't done that yet. And so you actually got me to actually complete that one as well.
Good.
So,
Cool. I'm gonna interrupt you. It's 9 o'clock, and so our plan is Adam's Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs is gonna be on the YouTube channel, which it is currently live. Oops. I gotta. So the plan is we're gonna do the topic intro. Then you guys are gonna give your greeting, who you are, what you do, and open for discussion loosely on topic. And then we're going to end with action asks, as we talked about last time, as opposed to events. So, okay. So this topic this week is, what are you putting off? You have lots of reasons to avoid things. This is why we put things off. But we want to move forward with those. So what we got to do is to sift through them. So we got to sift through the things that because we have lots of things we're putting off, right? Some you actually want to put off. And then someone actually told me in a book, all right, so this is only so much, but there was this Tim Ferriss who said that you should be doing the things that you're most afraid of doing. So that's like the advice of Tim Ferriss from 4-Hour Workweek. Welcome to Adam's Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs. We're gonna start with intros. So if you would post your information on the chat, then I can also pull it up while you're talking and show it in the background. And what I'd like to include is your publishable intro, like anything you want to talk about yourself that I might put on YouTube description later on. And then your business website and any contact information you want to share on YouTube. And if you don't want to share on YouTube, you can say just for private or whatever. And if you do put your website on there, help us out by putting HTTP in front of it so that it's clickable. So we're gonna give our name, the company you work for, a brief story about what you do and for who. The order we're gonna go in is I'll start, and then Phil came, then Alan, then Ben, and then Lisa. Good morning. Oh, we're gonna get out of this then. Stop share. Okay. Good morning. I'm Adam Sparks Brechtel, and my company is Sparks Flow. The cool thing I get to do is I help people and businesses organize their spaces. There's digital space, but there's also physical space and definitely mental space, and they all seem to be related to that one. So that's the fun stuff. There's a lady that I'm helping organize her home more recently, and she was not sure if I was going to be really of much help. Someone died in her that was close to her and left a bunch of stuff that she had to deal with, but because she also had to deal with, like, feeling sad about the loss. And I got to come in and I got to help her like move things through that she wanted to get moved. And one of the things she was really surprised is how much I was able to help her with paperwork. So that's what I get to do. Alan.
I'm Alan Ramos. I'm retired, former entrepreneur and attorney and theatrical producer and actor and businessman, and currently just enjoying a virtually stress-free life now in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Living it up. Phil.
Phil Wilton, I'm going to do it in that format. A former executive in the semiconductor industry for quite a few decades. Traveled around the world to various businesses in the semiconductor industry. And then I did 2 startups, one for a company that was in the semiconductor industry, but it was an ancillary company that was set up. And, oh, you got it there. FMG was another startup that I went into, and Drytech was the initial startup I did.
Certified vacuum pump sales and services. That's
Yeah.
FMG.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Trilumina was all of those. AMC Logistics is the UEFA one I worked at, the European Union Football Association. And since then, I've been doing strategic things. I worked with the National Science Foundation, I'm a Science Foundation mentor, and I'm currently helping Annie go through a National Science Foundation seed grant. And I'm also plodding along with my book.
Great. Your book is called?
Now, that's a good question, because it was called, and I'll tell you for why, because it was called Simple Strategic Planning. But my wonderful coach, Rita, who helps me go through the book, actually said, Phil, you're not actually doing the strategic planning. What you're doing is gathering the data that helps people do strategic planning. And a huge penny dropped at that particular time. And so I've had to change the title, and I'm thinking on several iterations, but something along the line of data gathering for strategic planning.
Great. That does sound rather dry, but I'm sure that's exciting for somebody.
Yeah, and that's the thing with strategy. It's you're either into it, love it, or it's completely boring.
I'll probably enjoy the book. The name is like, yeah, I guess I need to do that. Thank you. Ben.
Hi, Adam. My name is Ben Wolf. I'm the creator of the Beanie Sleeper, which is this.
Yeah.
It's 100% cotton fleece, moisture wicking beanie with a built-in eye mask that's helping women who are going through chemotherapy.
But this guy has a mustache.
This guy is me.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it to be about me, so that's why I've kind of faded me out.
Yeah. It's supposed to be about, that's really great. And you have your target market, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm focusing in on the women who are going through chemotherapy. Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, that's a great device for when you're on a long plane journey.
To be honest with you, Phil, that's one of I originally thought it would be good for that. I still do, but nobody's traveling. So all the things I thought about, kids in dormitories, travel, camping, nobody's doing any of that.
I'm getting one of them for my trip to Europe next year.
Well, I'll tell you, at the end of October, it'll be on sale on my website. So you can please buy
It's not for sale now?
No, because I'm currently waiting. Well, no, I'm currently waiting for my factory order to come in. COVID has really put a damper on things. So I'm looking at mid to late October now. But you can always sign up, and I could send, and I'll let you know when they come in.
Say hi.
But right now, even the places that are wholesaling it, that I wholesale to, they're out. So they're taking names as well.
And Ben, you are sort of visiting us from the East Coast.
I'm in New York City.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There we are. That's great.
You need to,
great product.
You need to present at 1 Million Cups.
Alan, I actually am. I'm going to be presenting the 21st of next month at the Seattle 1 Million Cups.
Well, what about the New Mexico?
Oh, listen, the more I can get the word out, the happier I am. Yeah. And this is really a story about bootstrapping. I mean, from start to my first sale, It was about $435 that I spent.
That's your first
Cool.
sale right there.
So from the creation of this
Uh-huh.
to getting my first sale at $19.99 cost me, I paid $450 from design till my first sale. So I'm like a good bootstrapper.
That's great.
Really?
And Phil, you see the image here? Where this person is?
Yeah,
The tough
that's
line.
me.
I've done
Yeah,
that.
That's me.
myself.
That's me when I travel.
So hopefully in October, by the time you see this again, it'll have all my new product photos, but everything's taking a little longer right now, but
Well, good for you.
By the way, Ben, I'm an implant from New York. I was in Saratoga.
nice. So you're here in the city.
No, I now moved to New Mexico.
Oh, gotcha.
That's great.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you, Ben. Lisa, is your website up yet?
No, not yet. It's gonna be a while. It's probably gonna be,
That sounds like a delay, Lisa.
we haven't even seen the first draft yet.
It's not because you aren't doing a great job and have been at this since 2008. It's just because you don't have the most current website ready.
Yeah, we are in the process of revamping our website. And my business partner and the web designer are doing what they do. He does marketing, not me.
I'll probably ask you that every time you show up. Like, is your
I
website?
will announce it, so you don't really need to ask every time, because
Ah,
definitely I'll definitely have that
It's a good
out.
conversation piece for me.
There you go.
It's also the only fun that he has. You're
Apparently.
spoiling his Friday morning.
I mean, it is freaking 2020, so I get it. I haven't been outside since.
I know nothing. This will go down as the year that of everybody's reaction will be, what? What happened?
Yeah, it's unreal. So about my company. So my name is Lisa McGarry. I am one of the founding partners of a company called Proficient Financial Management. We offer advisory and compliance services to small and mid-sized businesses. So financial analysis, cash flow projections, tax planning, financial strategy, that kind of thing, as well as bookkeeping, payroll, and tax preparation. Basically what we do is data manipulation with financial data. We do not call ourselves an accounting firm because in the state of Texas, where we were founded and where we did our first 12 years, and we're still in business there as well, you cannot call yourself an accountant or use the word accounting in anything that you do unless you are a CPA. No other credentials will qualify.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're thinking, does she do accounting? But it doesn't sound like it. Yeah, that's what we do. We do accounting, but that's why there's no accounting anywhere on our website or anywhere in our name, because we do not serve publicly traded companies at all. In fact, our ideal clients are business owners who are, of course, privately held companies who are seeking to positively impact their local communities and their local economies. So we really don't want anyone who is publicly traded or trying to become publicly traded.
Do you
And
have
we're
that?
full of all
same-
kinds of drug.
I'm
Go
sorry?
ahead.
Do you have that same restriction in New Mexico if you was to have an LLC here?
I do actually have an LLC in New Mexico, and I don't know, but since our marketing has to, we kind of have to keep our marketing streamlined.
Okay, makes sense.
So like our website will still never say that we do accounting, even though that is what we do, because we do business in states that have that restriction. And also it's really fun at parties and stuff because people ask me, what do I do? And I tell them, and they're like, so you do accounting? And I tell them no. So, you know, yeah. So, so it's a way to streamline our marketing. And also because really, we're not a traditional accounting firm. I mean, the accounting is important, the data is important, but really we use it as a tool to help businesses grow and expand. So most of our people are really passionate about small business growth and not about accounting, although they are all technically, and by technically, I mean they have the technical skills, not technically. They are all technically qualified for bookkeeping and tax preparation and accounting. So everybody's got an accounting background or a math background.
Just one thought for you. When you use the phrase manipulate financial data, that kind of struck me. I mean, my background, one of the things that I've done is,
The new Arthur Anderson here, okay? You know, what can I tell you?
yeah, I've done fraud investigation. And so when you use
Yeah.
that phrase, it was like, what?
You remember, he's a lawyer, Lisa.
Yeah, I know, but at 9 a.m. you're never catching me at my best because
Yeah, I thought the same
you're
thing. I
my
was
early
like,
meeting.
Yeah.
But no, we make sure all the data is clean and correct in the books, whatever platform it is that one is using, because there are so many options these days. And then we use that data to find answers to questions that our clients have, or questions that our clients haven't even thought of yet. So, you know, an example that I use sometimes is that, you know, one of my clients serves only the Fortune 500. So their retainers are 6 figures monthly. So as a company that started out with one person, you know, a $200,000 a month retainer is like insane to them. And one thing that we do is we actually cost out those retainers for every single one of their clients to make sure that they're still making a profit. Because, you know, again, when you start out, when you're just one person, you're thinking if you're making $200,000 a month for every single one of your clients, that of course you're making money, but it turns out sometimes you're not. So that's one of the kinds of things that we do with the data that is put into the financial platform. Is make sure that you're still making a profit, even when you think, of course, I have to be making a profit because it's so much money.
And you said this is tax season for you too. So if I tried to call you up tomorrow, you're going to be really busy. Well, tomorrow, maybe not, but.
Well, if you call me on a Saturday, I will never, ever answer the phone because I never, ever, ever work on a Saturday. Like,
way to go.
And I do mean ever. So likely if you call me on Sunday, you probably won't get me either because my phone is still off from Saturday. Yeah, but you know, it's not difficult to get a hold of me. I will, if I actually receive your phone call or text message and it does not get lost in, you know, the either of the internet somewhere, then I will always respond in one business day.
I will accept your phone call about Beanie Sleeper 24/7, 365.
Don't do that to yourself, Ben. You'll burn out. It was one of
those. I am new. I want to make
even
this
when
work.
I first started out, I said
there's plenty of time for vacation.
It's not about vacation. It's about training your customers early on. Because if you set the expectation with them that you're available 24/7, then even when you're in your 10th and 12th year, they're going to still expect you to be available 24/7.
Lisa, there's a great book I'm reading called The Pumpkin Plan, which talks it's a really good book about the same guy who wrote Profit First. I don't know if you know him. Mike Michalowicz, I think. Anyway, it's a great book about honing in on one specific thing, but he talks about weeding out those customers who do that, who take up most of your time for very little. So that's a very good point. But at the beginning, I want those people.
All right. Yeah, but on the other hand,
that's it. The Pumpkin Plan, a simple strategy.
Look at that.
I super wanted to not burn out, especially in accounting. You will not catch me after office hours unless I really, really like you and I know it's an emergency because you never call me.
Well,
so you pick up the phone if I call.
I won't even know who your number. you
That's
know.
that's what I'm saying. Okay. Was it?
But like, no, I'm talking about like if it's one of my elite clients who never calls me and is all of a sudden calling me at 7 o'clock, I know like
There's something.
everything has melted down for them. And I will probably, not guaranteed, but I will probably answer the phone. If
Yeah,
I'm
this is a really good book, especially for somebody like me who is literally very, very narrow in a very, very narrow thing. So this has been really great for me. You know, just to be, if I could be the best in this one lane, it's really good.
When
Did
I
you
was
find it what you-
practicing, all of my clients were in crisis. And they all had my cell phone number, but I turned my cell phone off at night.
right.
And in all the years I practiced, I only gave my home number to one client who was 94 years old and his wife was going into surgery. And I wanted him to be able to contact me. But you're right. You have to set the limits based on the kind of business that you have. And if you don't set the limits, you will regret it. And, you know, Ben, I appreciate the fact that you take off one day every 4 years because you said 365. So I hope you
5 days
enjoyed
are-
February 29th.
Oh,
I
sure. But
Very
you-
clever.
you will, I think, I mean, if you're successful, I think you'll find a need to set a limit.
100%, and I hope to get there.
Yeah.
I hope, as my dad would say, if that's my worst problem, that I'd have to have so many clients, I have to get rid of some. It's a good day.
So what was the big insight you got from this pumpkin plan?
Well, one thing it really talks about, I'll say the big picture is that it really talks about how important it is to really narrow your focus so that you can be the biggest pumpkin in the patch, because it's the biggest pumpkin that people want to see and that want to be around and that want to, that kind of thing, be a part of. And it talks about how to get rid of all the ones who are bringing you down from that. And the author, I'm doing Audible, and he's a very good speaker. It's a really fun book with a lot of great practical exercises. And it's really been good for me because that's what I'm doing. I'm really going down a specific lane with the Beanie Sleeper right now.
That's great. Yeah. Well, that sounds like some pretty good advice though too, because it's a book that I often quote is Book Yourself Solid, and he says a similar thing in there, but it's not the whole story that he talks about. But he says something about like if you niche down, then you can do other things.
Absolutely.
But you're able to focus on this thing, and it's going to make you
I'm not stopped from looking at travel and all the other things. It's just right now it's not bearing any fruit in those areas.
Yeah.
So let's focus on where, and it turns out my early adopters are these women, and I understand now why they're doing it. So I want to kind of just help them as much as possible.
That's wonderful.
I believe I can do good and make money at the same time. And that's really the goal of Beanie Sleeper. I'm following the image, like Do the Kind Thing, which is a great story of the Kind Bar, and the story of Tom's Shoes. Buy one, give one. That's a definite tenet of my site.
So you're giving away hats when someone buys
Yeah.
it?
So yeah. So it'll be a buy one, give one.
Oh.
When somebody buys one, I will give. I'm not sure which charity right now. I'm talking to the two of them, National Breast Cancer Foundation and the Breast Cancer Research something or other. One is more people centric in the sense they want to deal with the person before, during, and after treatment. The other one's more research.
Oh.
But I'm also talking to my manufacturer to see if I can, how much it would cost to get them sized down. Right now it's a one size fits most for men and women, but if I can get it sized down to a children's size, I'd really like to see if I can do that. And those I would just give away to like St. Jude's or something, because honestly, every time, it's not an awe thing, but the reason I haven't started it is because it literally makes me cry every time I see these kids. It's just, I just really have to suck it up so that I can do that, because I don't know how their parents are dealing with it. I just don't.
It goes to our theme today. What are you putting off? It might be the thing you're most afraid of.
Oh, well, to be honest with you, I was putting it off until today when I wrote my factory a message about this. So yeah.
But not anymore. That's great.
Did you get in touch with this woman, Janet, she was in the meetup comment saying, how can she get on today? I
Oh,
think
no, I didn't see that.
yeah, I just want she's looking to get on.
Oh, okay. And you even sent me a little private message there.
I sent you a private message because the more the merrier.
That's right. No, I didn't look at the meetups. I will check that out.
I always get notices from the meetups I'm on.
Yeah. And I'll put up this little, while I'm doing that, you can discuss amongst yourselves the exciting topics that I put here, but and I'll go look at another screen or something if I can. Actually, I'll probably hide it after I do this. That won't work. Whatever. Anyway, so there's lots of reasons to avoid stuff, sifting through things. So what are you guys avoiding? I'd talk about myself, but I'm going to look at Meetup right now.
I mean, I already said what I'm avoiding. I'm hoping not to right now, but I was avoiding it.
I once wrote an article, I may have mentioned it. I wrote it based on some advice I gave my daughter, and it's called 2 Million Reasons to Say No. And the thrust of it was you can come up with 2 million reasons to say no to anything. You only need one reason to say yes. And that goes with, it's consistent with the idea that you can come up with a reason to avoid doing something. That's the easiest thing in the world. But for me, I just called it my my Nike strategy. Just do it. Just stop thinking about it. Just do it. And I don't know if I mentioned this in a prior meeting, but I started 2 businesses by having a conversation with myself in a bathroom, looking at myself in a mirror. The first time was I'd been talking about starting a theater company, and I talked about it for like 3 months. And I finally looked at myself in the mirror and said, I'm getting sick and tired of listening to you talk about this. So either do it or shut the F up. And that weekend I started doing the work because I started a nonprofit company, and then the other one was several years later. I had been talking about starting a business, a consulting business, and I had virtually the same conversation in a men's room in a mirror, and I left that men's room and proceeded to start a consulting business. So for me, it was confronting myself with my constant bullshit, and told myself to just do it.
That was really inspiring.
Yeah, I had a similar.
I shouldn't be sarcastic. It's not nice.
Huh?
Oh, I shouldn't be sarcastic. It's not nice. But so someone just told you to just get right at it. Is that?
No, it was me who told me to do it. I people listen to you and they nod and they go, yeah, that's a nice idea. And I just got sick and tired of listening to myself talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I was coming up with reasons not to do it. You never have enough money. You never have enough time.
So,
right. So you can come up with those reasons to not do it.
So something I often, I know that I'm putting off a lot, and I'm working on getting better at this, is having discussions with my wife about the business or about like a lot of other things, and it's one of these things where I don't know what the origin of it is for me, but I know that a lot of these things that like I have to have a discussion, and sometimes we're going to disagree. And if we're disagreeing, that means that it's going to take some time away from other things. And it might even mean that I don't get to do the thing I want to do. And so I found it's bizarre to me that I'm afraid of talking to her about the finances or something like that. And it blows my mind that I have this fear about that sort of thing because, I trust her. We both mean the best, but sometimes I don't know, I think it is that often the conversation, and this is the reason I'm fearing it. I think often the conversation, when you're talking about anything, especially things like money, because that's like one of the leading causes of divorce is money talk. And it's because of how we talk to each other. So what I do is I sort of like push myself to go ahead, like, I'm talking to you about this, and then we can kind of work through it. There'll be some lumpy spots, and then we'll get to the better part eventually. And it's improved our relationship so much when I started to actually kind of talk about things I've been putting off, especially about the business, because it's a family business. So that's one of the things I've been putting off. And it's really cool when you actually get into it. So this is one of those places where I agree with Tim Ferriss that the things you're most afraid of are the things you probably do. I didn't think I was afraid of things, but I started realizing I was. Anyone got to follow up with that? Anyone else putting anything off? They're excited they're gonna face or anything like that?
I gotta tell you, about 20 years ago, before I came to New York, I was at a party and my best friend was there and a bunch of other people were there, and I was talking to somebody about, I'm gonna move to New York. And she pulled me aside and said, if I hear you say that one more time, I'm gonna slap you. Fucking move.
Yeah.
Then move already. And I'm so grateful because I didn't really have the guts to do it. I was just talking about it. Yeah. But literally a month later, I was in New York.
That's awesome.
Just neat. You know what? I thank God for such good friends.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in New York are you?
I might have been just talking about it.
Whereabouts in New York are you, Ben?
Yeah, so I'm in Queens, over by Citi Field and Flushing Meadows, LaGuardia.
You know where that is, Phil?
Yep.
Oh, good.
US Open is, right? No? Where the Mets play? You don't know where the Mets? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not into sorry, American games I'm into. I'm still into European games. I'm into real football.
I have no idea where Albuquerque is. I know it's New Mexico somewhere. So
yeah. I had no idea where it was when I came here, and I still don't have any idea where it is.
Yeah.
But it is part of the United States. Some people.
Is that the real? Is it part of the real America?
What was that, Lisa?
Don't tell people that, they'll come here.
Oh, yeah. Advantages.
When I left New Mexico to move to Texas in the mid-90s, it didn't help that they have a very strong Southern accent in Texas, and we did not understand what they were saying. And being that they're from Texas, they thought that we were from Mexico. And so we got a lot of, do you speak English? And yeah, we really wondered if they were the ones who spoke English. It was very difficult for about the first month because we really didn't understand anyone. And they all thought that we were Mexican. It was really awkward. And yeah, and that pretty much sums up the 27 years I spent in Texas and then came back to New Mexico. Although northern New Mexico is so much nicer than southern New Mexico.
You do have dark hair, so you could be Mexican.
Only a quarter.
Cool.
So the proper answer to that question, do you speak English, is yes, I do. Do you? And did your school teach geography?
Oh my God, no, actually, I went to I had the misfortune of attending one of the worst school districts in the nation in Texas, which is like, I don't know, 48 for education. So thank God I didn't spend all of my educational years in Texas.
It's funny you say that, Alan, because before I got to the US, it's renowned across Europe that Americans are not very good at geography. And in fact, one of the things that was really funny was when I was working for Applied Materials, and I was in England then. So Applied Materials is a major US corporation in the semiconductor industry. When the first Gulf War started, okay, we were doing a lot of business with Israel, Intel in Israel, and the vice presidents, I'll just say the vice presidents, sent out a missive to us in Europe that we couldn't travel to the Gulf, the GULF, before, without permission. And so, yeah, so which way around is it? You've got Gulf and Gulf, haven't you? Gulf, no, the GOLF. They put down, you can't travel to the Gulf, GOLF.
I mean, can you maybe
without
it was
permission.
just a mistake and not a statement on somebody's intellectual capacity?
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, we just all like burst out laughing because the natural thing or say the natural thing, the thing that most Europeans think is that Americans are not very good at geography.
Well, I mean,
and don't take it personally. I mean, I've been living here for 20 years, so I'm now an American citizen. I get pushed into that bucket as well.
I had a client from the UK, and he said that he met a young woman who asked him where he was from, and he said, "I'm from England." And she said, "What language do you speak there?"
I've heard that before as well.
So the other thing, there's other ways we can put things off, right? So not everything is a bad thing to put off. In fact, there's even a book, and I don't remember what this one was called. I like books because they're just sort of a nice talking point. But it was something about, procrastinating on purpose. I think I've mentioned it before. I've never read it, but, huh?
No, just saying, I was going through Audible and I just saw that book.
Yeah. Yeah. So some things we do want to put off. And it's funny because you guys have seen that the technique for choosing out of the 4 quadrants. You're going to see my my drawing skills here in a moment. So one of the ways we sift through things that we want to get to and don't want to get to, that's mine. All right. So quadrant number 1 is things that are urgent. And okay, there we are. That's not going to work. All right. We're going to get the texty thing here. Okay. Urgent. And then over here, we got the things that are, what's the other part? You guys know this. There's urgent and not urgent, but then there's the other side is important. That's what it is. And then not important. And so these columns are, this is 1, this is, oops, I want to get my drawing tool. Draw. That's weird. Oh, it had me to select, so 2, 3, and 4. Wow, look at that. That is quality there. Using my touchpad. So there's urgent and there's important. And then there's things that are like right here, urgent, important, and so unimportant. So this is like that sale on, I don't know, shoelace bobbies that is, it's going to be gone, right? But it's not important. And then there's over here is not urgent. And this is this kind of stuff. So my talk about finances with my wife would be this sort of area. It's not urgent because, we've done okay without it for a while, but it is important and it can keep getting put off. And these are usually the ones that are easy to put off. And this is often one we spend too much time on down here in quadrant 4. But there's other things that like feel like they're important because they're urgent. And so that's the confusing thing. And we can thank Eisenhower for these squares. Apparently he was the big one, the guy that, the president that got us our highway system. So so there are things that are we putting off, but actually should be. Are there any things that you guys have faced recently that you think has been something you've put off, but you've chose to, or you think it was a good idea to?
I chose to put off one of the things I joined before I left New York and was a part of the original founder too, was a think tank. And it's just a group of business people, and they came from, we had accountants, we had a lawyer, we had web designers, we had software developer, and we had various different people from various different organizations. And we just put ourselves together on a think tank. And then when we got together, we thought about how we could get customers from the think tank, which was kind of cool. And we opened up our think tank to, we kind of marketed it as a place that companies or small businesses could come and present their business, and we would help them to solve a problem that they had within their business. And it was going really, really well. We were slowly getting more and more customers coming in, and kind of doing what you do at 1 Million Cups. And they talk about their business, and we would talk about how they could improve areas of their business. And then my wife got the job at Intel and we moved. So I've been thinking about doing it, reviving it in New Mexico. But then I got into my book, and my book consumes a lot of time. So I guess I'm still got that in the back of my mind I'd like to do. And I guess that's one of the reasons I was pushing out the other week of maybe sitting down with guys and doing a case study on because I got this urge to still interact with other people on business issues and how you can solve business issues. So I'd like to do a think tank again eventually, but I am pushing through hard on the book. I've been at it for 6-7 months now, and I want to try and get it concluded by the end of this year.
Cool. So that was like there is a mixture there of things you're putting off, but also things that you thought were good to put off.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's good to put off. Because I enjoy the business interaction, and it's something you can do virtually quite easily as well as do in person. You know, you could easily form groups like this and open up a think tank to people.
When going back to when I was practicing, I just developed a system that I put everything that I had to do in a single pile, and every morning I went through and reprioritized the pile, because while that 4-box pattern makes sense, it's fluid, because something that's not urgent on Monday can become urgent on Thursday. And so and a lot of what I did was time sensitive. So I would go in on Monday, something was not urgent and I didn't need to do today. There were other things that were urgent that needed my attention immediately. But by Wednesday, that changes. And so I had to continually reprioritize that so that nothing got missed. And then the other phenomena that's in there is a time management issue, and it's really an emotional issue, because in every single pile of work, there's a very thick document that's unimportant, but only takes 2 minutes to deal with. And sometimes if you just take that out of the pile and do it, it just makes you feel better because the pile went down. And because there are other things in that pile, that's one sheet of paper that takes 5 hours, that when you complete it, the pile didn't diminish at all. So it's kind of managing the pragmatic as well as the emotional.
So Janet, welcome. So you had a hard time getting on. What was that all about?
I didn't sign up soon enough.
Oh,
I
so
wasn't- I hate to make commitment to things and then not show up.
oh,
So I
that's
wasn't sure, and my client moved their appointment to 12.
Oh, good.
So
Did so you tried to sign up and it wouldn't let you because it had already begun?
yes,
Oh. Huh. Wonder how I can fix that. Maybe there's another way. Oh well. Well, that's good. So Ben, who just was on but just left, he was the one that actually noticed you were trying to get on. And he mentioned it to me and I was like, oh, okay. So I looked on the meetup and that's how
I
we got.
did it. I did. Yeah, I did it through a message and then I did it as a post a comment. I didn't want to interrupt your thing. So if you didn't see it, no big deal, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're here. Good to see you. So are there any things you're putting off?
Cleaning my house.
Yeah?
I have, remember I had my mouse problem. I have to admit I haven't had any for 3 weeks and all of a sudden I caught one in the garage and two in the house last night. So that makes a total of 10 I've found
Boy.
between my garage and my house. So yeah, I think hopefully I'm getting all the babies now because I found a nest in the garage.
Well, I would love to be of service to you. I do virtual organizing, so I can even reach all the way up to Michigan and encourage you in your process.
Good. I'll take whatever vibes you send.
That's a uniquely COVID-19 problem about cleaning your house, because what I found is one of the main reasons you have company is that it's an excuse to clean your house.
true. Mm-hmm. For sure, Alan, sure.
And during this time, it's a mixture because I've talked to some people who are cleaning their homes or want to clean their homes but haven't gotten to it because they have so much going on. But because they're home so much, it also adds to that, like it ruins the flow, because it's this thing where you have it so often for many people I talk to, it's tasks they can do. So it's boredom on one side, but then on the other side, I'm going to do another drawing here. On the other side, it's anxiety, right? Because it's building up over top of them. So I'm not going to do drawing. I'm going to look up a flow chart. All right. I've got this weird thing on here where I put annotate, and so I can't use my mouse. Great. So that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons I named my business Flow, Sparks Flow, is because of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's method, flow chart. Okay, there we are. So here's a great example. We can get this guy out. We'll see if I pull this up where it's going to come. Here's, bam. All right. So the anxiety, and then there's boredom, and then this is like where you're in flow, and there's an advertisement. And so one of the things about like the problem with like having a messy home or a messy workspace or something is it has both sides and not the middle, right? So you have both the anxiety and the boredom. Anxiety because, and for some people it's even worse, like they just really don't like things clean. And as the boredom side is, it's like, it's not interesting, I have a hard time with cleaning my own home because of this boredom thing. It's like, I could do it later. I could put it off. It's just so easy because it's almost like not going to amusement parks in your area or tourist sites in your area because they're where you live, but you're willing to go off to Disney World or Mount Rushmore. Of course, I lived next to Rushmore. So it's just bizarre because so the boredom thing is so funny. And so there's different mechanisms you can use to like you could play music when you're cleaning your house. Like You reward yourself by only playing music when you're doing that, or something like that. Or you set small tasks so there's something in there. But that's funny. Have you done anything in the past that's helped you clean your house, Janet?
Have company, like Alan said. You know, I went through a stage where I thought, well, if I bought this like a chair or something, I'd want to have a clean house so the chair looked good, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that. So that didn't work. I thought, well, that'll inspire me, but that didn't work. So I would say probably necessity. You know, it just gets to the point you just can't, you don't relax anymore. You don't feel like this is your safe space or whatever, because you're like, every time you sit down, you think, oh, why didn't I do that? Why did I do that? You really can't totally relax.
Quadrant run. So it becomes urgent and important
Yes.
instead of this
Yeah.
not urgent. And that's one of the reasons it gets kind of boring, this not urgent stuff, because it's not like right in your face. It's down in that boring area. And it's like, and it's also, sometimes it feels like it's urgent. So it flips flat back and forth between these two categories.
Yep. Absolutely.
So let's wrap this up. I've done something on the end here, which I discussed last time, which instead of doing events at the end, I'm doing action asks. Because I was doing all this extra work to talk about events, and I don't think it was really helping anybody in particular. But one thing I know is if I'm doing this and I'm not getting something out of it, like I know right now it's kind of helpful because I get to like volley ideas back with some really neat people. But the other thing that I'm hoping for is that other people are getting something out of it too. And so the action ask thing would be a nice way to end up. So, and this is actually, it's funny because this is kind of like a BNI, which is Business Network International. They always have an ask in it. And so this doesn't have to be a business ask. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. But I like the idea of my ask at the end is for you to think of something that you want to make action happen. So what actions do you want to have happen? And if you want to encourage others to do it, you can do that. So I never get anyone a heads up that this was coming. So if anyone has something off the top of their head, that's great. But I'll go and give mine, which is, you know, if you'd like know someone who'd like to get more organized, then go and shoot them a call or invite them to come and talk with us here. All right. So is anyone that already ready, or do I call you out individually? Any particular asks? The other thing I'm going to find out is if I describe this well enough that it makes sense, because it's a new, different thing I'm doing on the end.
So maybe me in a few months' time, but I think it would be good to get prepared for it now. Somebody that would be interested in reading my book, to actually read it and give me some feedback. I have a wonderful coach, as I've said at the moment, who's taking me through paragraph by paragraph, and she's an absolute diamond of a lady.
Yeah.
But I kind of would like to widen the circles. So somebody that could proofread my book, I guess, I don't know if that's the right term, but
no, that's good. And
make sure.
I can tell you right now, I've already proofread the title, and it's really boring. The title.
Well, yeah, I haven't settled on that yet, so you can help me with the title then.
Give it more zazz, you know? European football strategizing. I don't know, something like that.
Well, Phil, I've already offered to do that, so.
That's great.
Yeah. I know you have, Alan. I'm just seeing if there's a wider circle as well.
No, absolutely.
Alan, you really liked this idea of the ask at the end. So did you have anything in mind?
Well, I just, because I personally don't have many needs, but I posted in the chat, please register to vote and use vote411.org for information on the candidates. And that's produced by the League of Women Voters, Central New Mexico, of which I'm a member. And we circulate questions to all of the candidates. And it gives you an opportunity to compare and contrast their answers. That used to be only in print form, but 411.org is a marvelous tool because you can put candidates' answers side by side. And
That's cool.
yeah,
I'm just looking at that, Alan. Yeah,
so
that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Janet, we're going to end with Lisa. So what is an ask, some sort of action that you would encourage others to take or you'd like encouragement to take?
I think that everyone should call someone in the next week that they haven't talked to in a year. Because it's amazing when you reach out to people with this pandemic. There's been good feelings, bad feelings. You just got busy. It doesn't make any difference. Just call someone or text someone and say, I was thinking of you in the pandemic and I've missed chatting with you or whatever. Could be someone across the United States and Europe or somebody next door. But I think it makes a big difference. And I've done it a couple times during the pandemic, a couple of people I hadn't talked to just because we hadn't talked. And it's turned out wonderfully. So.
That's great. Thanks. Lisa.
Well, I definitely want to plug Alan. I love the League of Women Voters Guide. I actually use it every election. It's super helpful. And some of the candidates seem to decline to have things in there, but otherwise a lot of them do, and they have like pretty much everybody who's running. And one thing that I really liked, I don't know if it's in the online version because I always got the print version at the library, is they'll tell you what the office does, which is really helpful because in Texas they have sneaky things like the Office of the Railroad Commissioner, which actually has nothing to do with the railroads.
Oh.
And is actually like something on the oil and gas. So it's really helpful because, we don't get educated on this in public schools at all. So it's really helpful that they post what that particular seat, I guess, is responsible for, like what the candidates are running for, what they're going to do. So just want to plug that again for Alan. My ask for the week is I would like to be introduced to owners of specialty trade companies, plumbers, HVAC specialists, electricians, remodelers in the Albuquerque area. Because I don't actually, I have not run across any in any of the networking I've been doing. I know a lot of specialty trade people don't network because they're crazy busy.
Yeah, especially right now.
I'm always encouraging my clients who are specialty trade owners to do that. But yeah, I'd really like, if you have a good relationship with the owner of a specialty trade company, I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah. So Alan and Phil, you guys have electricians and plumbers probably. I fix everything in my own house. I don't need anybody. But
I rent an apartment. So I just call somebody if something doesn't work. I don't fix anything.
Even in your business network, if you happen to know anyone in your business network.
Yeah.
Most of what's happened in my house this year is because it's brand new and it's under warranty. So, I've been building up a list of utility repairers, put it another way, that may be useful. I don't know if you want a list of people, but may be useful.
Oh, no, I'm looking for like actual introductions.
Yeah.
I rent, so as far as my house is concerned, but specialty trade contractors are a good chunk of our client base, and also because they're really good to have for referrals, but I like to know the people I'm referring.
Yeah, one of the cool things about if you can give when I try to introduce people, or like when I think people will do well together, I try to put them both in an email together, or I try and call them up and say, can I give this person
Yeah.
information? That's a real cool, great way to do it.
I actually had one-on-ones with both of the financial planners in
Yeah.
AQ that you hooked me up with. Yeah, Allison and I hit it off like gangbusters. So
She's great.
yeah,
She would,
yeah, that's
she
been
would come to this too, except that she has something right during this time.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, she's great. We have a lot of fun together. One day we'll actually meet.
One day, right.
So yeah.
And you and I actually talked about, we're both kind of specialize in specialty contractors. Since
Right.
I signed on to Home Advisor, it's sort of shifted, but that was on my list to like contact people, especially in that group. So
Yeah.
that should
Yeah,
be,
I do a lot of those. I do a lot of people in, we have a lot of clients in the marketing field. We have a lot of people in real estate, and then I've got people who do interesting things. Not that the other things aren't interesting, but by interesting, I mean, they're like
different.
kind of random, you know? Like one of my clients manufactures racing parts for off-road
Oh,
Jeeps.
that's cool.
Right, yeah, guys love that one. And then you know, I have clients who do just I have a client who sells a skincare product. That's all she does. She sells a high-end skincare product. So yeah, so I have like those one-offs, but those are fun because then you get to learn a lot of new things too.
That's one of the reasons I like my job. So talking about getting interested in random things, ADHD is the topic for next class, course, day, whatever it is, the discussion that we're going to do. This is particular interest to me because I got it, especially as diagnosed as an adult. So there's, we're going to talk about our superpowers next week. And that's the plan. Thank you guys for joining me. And I'll see if I've got a nice going out here. So keep the sparks flowing. And that's actually, I like that, keep the sparks flowing ending, but I'm always like rough on this ending. So, anyway, thank you for joining me, and keep the sparks flowing.
Thank you, Alan.
Right.
Bye, Alan. Bye, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My privilege.